Bum-ba-da-dum. Howdy, welcome to BanjoBenClark.com. I'm your host, Banjo Ben. This is your favorite online home to learn how to play banjo, guitar, or mandolin. That was a fun tune, wasn't it? St. Anne's Reel. I want to give a special shout out and thank you to one of my Scottish students, Archie Carnes. He sent me this great Scotland t-shirt as well as that funny little hat, and he encouraged me to come up with a Scottish character. I figured St. Anne's Reel would be about a perfect tune to do that with. I was going to try to talk in a Scottish accent, but every time I tried, it just ended up sounding like I was a Mexican, which I guess is what you get if you grow up in Texas. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, here in a little while, I'll ask you to go over to my website, BanjoBenClark.com, or you can join as a Gold Pick member. You can see hundreds of videos, download hundreds of tabs just like this one. For this particular video or lesson, I've got about a 30-minute instructional video where I'm going to teach you how to play each and every note. Now I've got tabs for both the first solo and the second solo in PDF and TEF file form. Those TEF files are really cool. In the video section, I've got also a video where I play it all the way through very slowly that you can follow along, as well as a video talking about how to play backup and the chop for this particular song. Cool? All right, let's dive into St. Anne's Reel. Let's learn St. Anne's Reel in the key of D on mandolin. Now, I played two solos in the preview video that you've watched. The first solo is very, very basic, and I have the tab for that over on the website. It's included with the tab for the second solo. I'm not going to spend any time teaching that because we kind of incorporate the same types of deals into the same types of licks into the second solo, but the second solo gets a little bit more advanced. And if you've hung around the website for very long, you know that I like to teach fiddle tunes. And one thing about teaching fiddle tunes is they have two A parts that are 8 bars apiece and two B parts that are 8 bars apiece. And what I'll typically do is the first A part and the first B part I'll teach fairly basic so you can really get a hold of the melody. Then the second A part and the second B part, I'll stretch out a little bit. And this is great because it gives advanced players something to learn. And then if you're a basic player and the second A and B parts are too hard, you can always just repeat the first A and B parts and you still got a solo. So let's throw the tab up there. Be sure and pay attention to your pick strokes. I have those little arrows beneath each one of the notes. We're going to look at the first A part, which is pretty basic before we start getting into the triplets and stuff. And we're going to start on the 5th fret of the A string with this little pickup that comes in on the 4th beat of the first measure. And we're going to play that in an open E string, walking into the melody of St. Anne's Reel. Okay, once you get up there to that E string on the 2nd fret, we're going to start the melody, and it's very scale-based. Nothing really crazy going on. So we've got a quarter note there, then we're going to play a little scale lick here. And then when we get to measure 3, it's full of quarter notes, so it's pretty simple. Open A string, 4th fret. Now the chord changes to a G here, measure 4, so our lick's going to change over a G lick as well. Starts off with the quarter note there on the 2nd fret. Pretty easy. When we get to measure 5, we've got a little bit of a syncopation happening here. I love this about St. Anne's Reel. It's got a syncopation at the end of these little phrases. But we're going to start off on the A string and then come down to the 4th fret of the D string. And then I've got a little rest written in there, so you need to pay attention to that. Make sure and give it that rest. You don't have to pull your finger off the 4th fret, but just make sure that there's that little spot of time that you give it. And then we're going to come right back up the scale. Okay, so measure 5 a little faster so you can hear that timing. When we get to measure 6, we're going to play exactly what we just played in measure 2. When we get to measure 7, instead of having all those quarter notes like we did in measure 3, we're going to play kind of a fiddle lick here. It sounds like this. So it starts off with a quarter note, then 8th notes, then ends on a quarter. And then measure 8, we're going to wrap up the first A part, starting on the 2nd fret of the A string, back to the 5th fret of the D string, then 4th fret. So measure 8 together sounds like this. Then measure 9, we're going to end the first A part with 3/4 notes. But then we're going to pick back up into the second A part, and this one's going to get a little bit tougher. It's not really tough. I know you can do it. We're going to have the same little pickup there at the end of measure 9 that we had to get into the song. But this time when we get to measure 10, we're going to play the E string and then hammer. We're not going to pick it again. We're just going to hammer to the second fret. When you're going fast enough, you can hear that hammer. So hammer, and that takes the place of our upstroke. So our next note that we play, we're going to play with another downstroke. Okay, so playing that pickup going into measure 10, in measure 10 it sounds like this. Now when we get into measure 11, we're going to kind of lose some of that linear feel, and we're going to kind of jump around a little bit. And it makes for a really cool sound. We're going to start off on the A string, then play the second fret, then jump down to our D string on the 5th fret, back to the A string, then back to the D string. Okay, it's kind of a finger twister, but measure 11 up to speed sounds like this. When we get to measure 12, we're going to see our first triplet of the song. We're going to have quite a few more, especially in the second B part. But a triplet, those are 8th note triplets, and all that means is that we're forcing 3 8th notes into the space where 2 8th notes normally go. So that makes these triplets a little faster than normal 8th notes. And we're just going to pick it one time on the 2nd fret of the A string, and then we're going to hammer to the 3rd fret, and then we're going to pull right back off to the 2nd fret. So it sounds like this. And it takes a little time to be able to get those to sound good, especially that pull off. When you go faster, it's easier. But triple it. Then the rest of that measure goes like this. So measure 12, a little faster, sounds like this. You hear how those triplets are a little quicker? So I'll just play 11 and 12 for you so you can kind of get the context. And then of course if you use my TEF tab files, your computer will play it for you so you can really hear what it sounds like. Measure 13, we're going to do a slide. It's our first slide of the song. We'll start off on our A string, and then we're going to slide from the 3rd fret to the 4th fret on the D string. And once you do that slide, make sure you don't do it fast. I don't want to hear it's not that. It's an 8th note slide. But leave it there because we're coming right back to that 4th fret. So those first 5 notes in measure 13 sound like this. Then we're going to do that same little walk up, the same hammer on in 14. Now measure 15, we're going to start a lick that kind of gets outside of the melody. Okay, it starts off kind of as a scale, but then it's going to go up the neck into a really cool lick. We're just going to walk down the scale, starting on the A string, and then walk right back up. So measure 15 all together. And then we're going to keep walking up the scale. But once we get to that 5th fret with our ring finger, we're going to pick it once and then slide it up to the 9th fret. And don't make it a fast slide. This is an 8th note slide, so it happens at the same speed as the rest of your 8th notes. Do, do, do. That note right there is the same note here on the 2nd fret of the E string. So the timing is just like I were to play this. But we're not. We're just going to slide there instead. And then that puts you in position for the rest of measure 16. It puts your index finger near the 5th fret of the E string. So grab it and play 5, 7, 9, 5. So all of measure 16 together sounds like this. You'll find that to be pretty easy once you get used to that slide. And then you're still up there for measure 17. We're going to wrap up the second A part. We're going to reach out with our pinky and grab the 10th fret, then 7, 5, 9, 5. Now we've got another pickup at the end of measure 17 going into the first B part that's going to happen pretty quick. So we can't really hang around there once we come down. I like to kind of get a little slide sound down from that 5th fret as I get in position for this pickup. And 17 sounds like this. You kind of have to move a little quickly. All right, let's check out the B parts now.